Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Saturday night stream. Michael, howdy. Um, so, Eddie and I have both tried scheduling our streams a few minutes later than normal to try to be here on time. As you saw last night, Eddie was late anyway. Tonight, I'm the culprit. Serge, здравствуйте. Serge, это мой лучший друг.
Здравствуйте.
Хорошо. Здравствуйте.
So interesting stream tonight. We're going to put Eddie up here in the honor spot. Y'all know Eddie. We stream regularly together. Moscow photographer. And we have with us the one of the other idiots, Andy Afrolev, the Afrolev on YouTube, link in the description below. So we originally were just going to do a stream to talk about Russian women and Russian wives, but the Trump-Zelenskyy debate just won't allow us to do that. So late last night, Eddie and I decided we were going to shift Andy off into the realm of geopolitics again. So
glad to be here.
And Andy, you did an awesome job finding the clip of the effing bitch comment from Zelenskyy.
I got that from my wife. So.
Okay, well, my wife noticed it too, and I didn't. So, yeah. And it seems that no Westerner out there has actually caught this. Maybe Serge did, but you know, I see a lot of comments out there today in Twitter, Facebook, general news about how rude Vance and Trump were to Zelenskyy, but nobody seems to notice that that comment. Thoughts, guys?
I'm actually sure, I'm almost positive that Team Trump knows now. By now, they know that occurred. Yeah.
Most definitely. It's everywhere now. It's blowing up.
Yeah. I would say they probably knew before he actually left Washington.
Before he left the building, I'm sure there was a Russian speaker as part of the Trump team said, "Oh my God, did you hear this?" Yeah.
So I didn't know this until today. I thought he went right to the airport and left. He left the White House, went to the Fox News Center, did an interview, and then left.
Yeah, and, he left much later.
The Fox thing, yeah. That's what the Fox thing.
Yeah.
What was that about? What was the encore? What did you talk about there?
On Fox News?
Yeah, on Fox.
Well, the reporter he was talking to interviewed him in Kiev and wanted to get him on. And being Fox News and very pro-Trump, they really were trying to corner him on if he was being disrespectful or not. And I mean, I don't remember the name of the commenter, but he said, "Do you think you were rude to Trump and Vance?" And he didn't answer it. He went off on this thing about, well, we just want security guarantees. We're poor little Ukraine. We were invaded by the murderer and all this. And then the guy asked him again, but do you think you were rude to Trump and Vance, and do you owe them an apology? Well, we're here for peace and diplomacy, and that's what we're all about. And so never did answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
So,
however, and I'm sure, if I could, I'm sure that interview was already scheduled ahead of time, probably as a sort of like a post-game analysis But after signing and after all that, they bring him to Fox, and then he would, have to have that time there. So I don't think it was spur of the moment, but I think the topic was definitely spur of the moment.
Yeah. And, I made comment to my wife that it seems there's a lot of comments out there that Trump and Vance set Zelenskyy up for this, which I personally don't buy into. I think it was a setup, but not by them. And, my wife said, nah, that's what I saw in it right away. So we have disagreement in our own family over that. But some things people haven't been noticing. Oh, hey, want to say hi to Erica? Erica, glad you got to us on a live. Erica is one of my regular viewers. She doesn't get notifications anymore because YouTube is no longer censoring us.
I love you.
Oh,
I'm going to do a video about that later.
initial
Yeah.
creation. Jill, howdy. How you loving Russia, Jill? Rosie, good to see you again.
See Gina there
Yeah,
too.
so my comments about a setup. I think it was actually set up by the European Union.
Bingo.
I think they knew what was going to happen. They let him over like a chihuahua on a leash, knowing that Trump would blow up. It would give them their pounding on the desk points against the United States, which they're doing right now. So,
Well, my wife and I this morning, we watched the entire clip, the entire 40, 50-minute clip.
Yep.
And it is very cordial. It's very calm. But you could tell a couple of observations on Zelenskyy. First of all, he had talking points. He really didn't have a speech or ideas, or he wasn't speaking from the heart. He threw out the talking points, like full-scale military invasion, unprovoked. Putin is this, that, the other, and just all of the same attacks. It was almost as if he was speaking with Biden, because if this had been a Biden administration, then Biden and everybody around him would be doing this. Oh my, yes, Putin bad, and just agreeing with everything he said. Instead, he was speaking to someone that's just totally different. He didn't read the room. But if you ask me, Zelenskyy was so on point, so on target with with the delivery of his message, that it leads me to believe he was coached and taught and directed. You will say these things. We need to get these on record. Knowing that, and then the other thing is, he was coming off a high because he starts off talking relatively coherent. But as time goes on, he starts, getting a little fuzzy, and he's going through this phase where he's coming down off of it. And of course, when J.D. Vance countered what he had to say, it triggered Zelenskyy, and boom, we're off to the races.
and I have a link to the entire video in the description. So anyone who hasn't seen the entire video should go look. In all honesty, Trump and Vance weren't correct about the fact that he didn't thank them, because it's one of the first things he did when they sat down and started, is he said, I want to thank you. And of course, Trump's patting him on the back, and they were best buddies. But like you said, Eddie, he had his talking points, and he started on those talking points, and it went downhill from there.
And another thing about the thank you from J.D. Vance, really quick. I think what J.D. Vance was referring to when he says, you haven't shown, I think what he meant to say is, you're saying thank you, but I don't see gratitude in your attitude, in your demeanor, in your sincerity. And I think that's what Vance was meaning. Just as an American, I understand that language, and I think that's what he meant.
I think also,
except he's not an American. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, it's interesting because I also had this conversation with my wife. If it was choreographed, perhaps if it was somebody else behind the scenes making sure that this boils over. What was interesting is, was before he even entered the White House, there was a funny little comment that Trump gave before he even entered. Oh, look at you! You're all dressed up, and I kind of knew there was a hint of insolence there. I was like, okay, this is not going to go the way that he thinks it's going to go, because initially, even before entering the White House, you have that snide remark that he passed. So I was already on the edge of my seat, like this is probably going to be something viral, because he's already trolling him before he even enters the scene.
Well, I've heard that Trump was truly offended that he wasn't wearing a suit, because Trump, being an older guy, more traditional, he expected him to show up looking like a president. So was it a fair judgment on him? I could say, yeah. I wouldn't show up for a job interview wearing this. So Eric is saying, who doesn't wear a suit when dealing with leadership?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know.
But one, we're a different generation, but two, I supposedly, and I put this on my Telegram, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to my Telegram channel, Kevin's or Afro Lev, you will find the links down in the description. Join us there. But I put on my Telegram channel earlier communications from the Trump administration on dress code. And I think it was done deliberately, because this is, to me, this is a given. But supposedly there was instructions to the team Zelenskyy on a particular dress code, and black or blue suit for men, business attire. And so when he shows up, Trump's expecting him to see him in a suit, and I think he just, Trump being Trump, right off the cuff.
Yeah. All but which. I love you, all but which. Who takes direction better than an actor playing a president? And God,
Well said.
I've got to find this and upload it. Just I'm sure I've got it here. Where is it? Oh well, I won't. Mishalification. You've got some pretty bold statements out there. This and your counter argument. I think Vance is on a level much greater than Zelenskyy is. Recognized as the illegitimate leader of Ukraine in the Russian Federation, just to keep us on the legal side of Russia. Vance is a bulldog too, but he was much better at being a bulldog than Zelenskyy was.
And much more diplomatic in tone and in language.
Yeah, a bit more diplomatic and a bit passive aggressive. But, Mishalification's counter argument is both Vance and Trump had a lot of choice words for Zelenskyy before. Europeans wanted them to talk to Zelenskyy, so they decided, sure, we'll talk to him, all right. So I'm going to dispel this, because fake news and how it colors people really pisses me off. So this report, this is an official report. The mineral signing deal was supposed to be done after the Verkhovna Rada ratified it in Kiev while Kellogg was there with the agreement. And it was Yermak the vice president of Ukraine, who insisted that it be signed with Trump in Washington. And Kellogg said, no, it's a bad idea. These guys don't communicate well. They don't get along well. Yermak insisted on it. So was Yermak the idiot, or was he trying to set Zelenskyy up? So he actually wasn't invited by Trump to come to the White House to sign the agreement. It was an insistence by the Ukrainians,
Kevin,
after they'd already ratified it.
hold that thought. Hold that thought as whether Zelenskyy was set up from within. Hold that thought for later. We'll go into detail, but yeah, crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about it now. I guess you know. Here's the deal: is that I think there's some discussion that the West or the Western allies, EU, UK, put Zelenskyy up to this because he had the talking points. He had the speech. He was on a mission.
Mm.
But I also believe that maybe Team Trump had some prior notice that this may happen. And I'm just wondering, and I'm just spitballing here. And of course, but I'm thinking, is there some friendlier forces in Zelensky's circle who try to remain quiet, remain under the radar, but get information out to Trump as to what's happening within the inner circle? I'm just thinking, could happen. Who knows?
Yep. So I actually, when we had that comment about, the comedian, here you go. So I understand Reagan was a decent president for a former actor. Arnold Schwarzenegger was an okay governor for an actor. This is what Ukraine has for their president.
Вечно мело, чьи-то взгляды, прячем свои лица. Ты один, аллиготер, через свою большую ПОПу подними.
Oh my
And
God.
he's even blushing on that one.
Absolutely blown away.
That was him in his earlier career.
Is that him in his prime?
I have to give it to props to Vicki Newland, okay? Because I'm sure Vicki was part of the committee who selected Zelenskyy to run in this election and all that. So props to her for picking a guy who could read a script and follow orders. You just didn't count on him being a cokehead. Or maybe you did. Who knows?
He has range.
Could be.
I must admit. Definitely a versatile actor.
Strip bear. I love strip bear.
Well said.
She handed out fake boobs. So we were going to talk a little bit about reactions across the world today. So here's one for you. This is one of the ones that I can actually put on and not get banned from YouTube for.
You see the way Trump talks to Zelenskyy? That's what we've been missing. That's what I voted for. That's what I've been looking for. Somebody talking with their chin. Who you talking to? This is America. You better be humble when you walk up in here, making demands. Who you think you talking to? This big Trump and big Vance. And I like how Vance stepped right in. Trump sat back like a G. Trump came in. No, I got this, big homie. Hey, bro, you need to check yourself. We're doing you a favor. The United States does not need Ukraine. We can sit back and let Russia destroy y'all. So you better come with some humility, bro.
That is
all I've got to say to that is amen, huh?
amen. But that's Trump's base right there. And the
Yes.
left does not get it. That's his base voter right there. The common everyday guy who he could sit here on TikTok, on Instagram or X and say whatever he wants, and nobody's going to pay attention to him. But Donald Trump put him in the room with Zelenskyy and told him what this man wants to say but can't. That's
exactly.
Trump's appeal.
So now in the United States, we do have the opposite views. So, here we've got somebody saying that Zelenskyy said they tried diplomacy and it wasn't honored on the Russian side. Of course, I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But then we've got somebody disagreeing, saying, from this point on, it's all Zelenskyy's fault. And, then we've got, why is no one talking about the fact that Zelenskyy violated the terms of the deal that he previously agreed to, which is true. So this blue fingers guy is saying, well, Putin doesn't, he's agreeing with Zelenskyy, saying Putin doesn't, keep the agreements he makes. But, and this is a big but, let me find the right one here. Boy, we get a bunch of stuff in here. The Minsk agreements. So this is the first Minsk agreement. Who it was signed by. You notice Putin's signature isn't on this. It's the OSCE, Kuchma, former president of Ukraine, the Russian ambassador to Ukraine, and the head of the DPR and the LPR. Putin didn't break this deal. And Zelenskyy seems to forget that they were the ones who continued shelling their own citizens after this deal was signed. So that was Minsk 1. And here's Minsk 2. Who's it signed by? And who was it negotiated by? It was negotiated by Poroshenko, Putin, Merkel, and Holland. But the signatories are the first 5 guys again. So, again, it wasn't Putin who broke anything. Ukraine continued shelling Lugansk and Donetsk. And I know we're going to have people who say, no, that's not true. However, here's Merkel from DZ and some of the English excerpts from it that say it was nothing but a temporary peace agreement to give time to train and arm Ukraine. So they've been caught by their own words. Zelenskyy actually needs to go back and read what happened then when he was playing actor, president on TV. Heil Zelenskyy. So
When he was pretend
just
president.
set the record straight on that. Thoughts, guys?
I feel like that article exposed a lot. I read that one as well, and there was a video that came up about buying time. So I feel like people basically hear what they want to hear because this is accessible to everybody. Anybody can find these articles. Anybody can find information. But I feel like there's just a certain type of person that just ignores the facts and then just proceeds to follow a certain narrative that they have implanted in their mind, and there's no way you can shift them from that mindset. And yeah, of course, I think some of them are probably bots, but some people are just completely and utterly brainwashed. So it's like you toss something their way. Look, here you go. It's right in front of your face. You see what she said? Even she said that she was buying time. And people will be like, no, but and they'll find another angle. It's like kind of being fed something that you've known your whole life. And then when something is tossed your way, you think it's something criminal or it's just trying to distort you. So, yeah, I feel like it's a lot of brainwashing.
Yeah, the interesting thing is I was trying to find the video interview that Merkel did, and everything I found, it's been scrubbed from the internet. It's not out there anymore. I had to dig to find that article.
And why would they want to
go back to the German archives to find the actual article as well? So the interviews, the video interviews, they're available with Russian dubbing. I didn't want to put that on the channel because we'd have to be interpreting to everybody. Yeah, Jeet, please don't type in all caps all the time. Yeah, so some more thoughts. Now, here we go. After being tossed out of the White House, going on Fox News and backpedaling a little, but still blaming everybody else for his problems. Then calling his buddy in Denmark, what do they have? They've got the king, but then a prime minister or whatever, that's his buddy, talking to him on the phone. He talked to Starmer on the phone yesterday, and he talked to Macron after all this. And I think he got slapped down a little bit by that. Publicly, no, but I think he got slapped down because what do we have from him? We have an apology here with a comment from Scott Ritter under it. Scott Ritter has been commenting under a lot of Zelenskyy stuff today. Pretty much the same thing. I think he has a hotkey for that one. But
yeah, I think he's got a quick key. He's got a quick key for that.
Yeah. So, and he was thanking every world leader out there in Europe that supported him. So
I can just see 4 or 5 staffers around Zelenskyy on their cell phones, of course, with access to the same X account, just copy, paste all these thank yous because they just started coming in. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
So these were marching orders, clearly.
What?
And then, of course,
and people need to know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, every information is a two-sided coin. So the other side of that coin was, the other order was to Europe and the collective West, you need to respond back. And so that's when we had this ton of response. And they were all canned. They were all the same response. Same thing, bots.
Yeah. Creativity. I saw that,
Nuts.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nuts.
And on that, I often hear people say, oh, Trump, tweeted this, or Zelenskyy tweeted that, or this guy tweeted that. These presidents aren't out there tweeting stuff themselves, people. They have a staff that does it. I am friends with Maria Butina, and she tweets a lot of stuff, posts a lot of stuff, but I happen to know her staff members that do that for her. They know her thinking. If there's a question about what they should be messaging, they talk to her, but they're doing that. So it isn't them doing it. So like you say, guys, bot. Serge says, Poroshenko spilled the beans for the real reason in signing the Minsk agreements in autumn of 2014. And Merkel and Holland confirmed that years later. And he's absolutely right. In fact, at the time, Poroshenko called them, what was it, Serge? Something cockroaches that should all be stamped out. Talking about the people in Donetsk and Lugansk. I know. It sounds something like Colorado cockroaches. That's what I got when my wife said it, but it's cholera cockroaches.
Ah,
So, yeah.
no offense
So,
to all the cockroaches in Colorado. Okay, just no
yeah.
offense.
That's
Yeah.
awfully
I
specific.
do not want to be overwhelmed by cockroaches tonight. I am your
Exactly.
friend.
Apologies.
So, yeah. How about this one? You guys know who Lex Fridman is?
I do.
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Very pro-Ukrainian, anti-Russia. He's a Ukrainian guy. However, I couldn't find the tweet because I didn't have it. It was out there. He spoke sharply about him. Lex Fridman tweeted that Zelenskyy was quite inappropriate in his behavior at the White House. Now, if you go out to his account today on Twitter, you will get a page can't be found error. And this is what you get. I regret engaging in the political dumpster fire.
Wow.
So
Wow.
he removed it, apologized for participating in it, and then announced that he's heading to Moscow. He's interviewing Putin. So you have and this is what diplomacy is. This is what Zelenskyy needs to learn. Friedman drives me crazy with a lot of his comments, but he said Zelenskyy was bad. He then removed it, apologized to everybody, but he is going to talk to Putin. He'll probably ask some tough questions, but Zelenskyy, the Europeans really need to watch this interview between Lex and Vladimir Putin, because maybe they'll learn something about how you talk to somebody that is on the opposite case that you're on. What do you think?
Well,
You guys
the first,
go Friedman. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that I was thinking was he got marching orders, but he may have had some discussions with some people that said, this is a great opportunity. Maybe let's rethink this. Who knows?
Could
So
be.
Michel says that I heard that real wrong. Koloradsky Zhuk. I don't know. My wife said they basically mean cockroaches.
Koloradsky soup.
You guys want to know what the Kiev Post has to say? This is mainstream Ukrainian media here. There will be no more blank checks for Ukraine without peace. And Ukraine needs a global voice. Orban is the black sheep in the EU. Orban had, where is he? Orban had this to say. Today, Donald Trump stood bravely for peace, even if it was difficult for many to digest. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mm-hmm.
So there are Europeans that don't agree with the Europeans.
Yes, and especially this message is also meant for his allies in the EU, basically calling them weak men or weak women. Let's just call that too.
Yep. Well, that is
Now, another point that I want to make about the expletive that Zelenskyy blurted out. Has it occurred to anyone that this Ukrainian president was swearing in the Russian language? Just saying. Just saying.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
First comment my wife gave was, "Oh, He remembers he's Russian.
Exactly.
And there was an interesting comment my wife made because she said, generally, when people are annoyed or when they are stressed out, they retreat to their native language to make exclamations. And the first language she chose was Russian.
Because it's true
Yep.
language, unlike Ukrainian. But anyway,
It's
All
what he
the-
grew up speaking.
It's what he
And
grew up
he's
speaking.
he's from Eastern Ukraine. He wasn't the Ukrainian speaker.
Well,
Exactly.
If you listen to him speak in Ukrainian, he speaks worse Ukrainian than he speaks English.
I've heard that.
I saw him with the, there was a Friedman interview he actually did that he did in Ukrainian and Russian
Yeah.
and English. And he kind of used the whole idea of saying, no, I want to have different languages to express myself. But I had a suspicion that his Ukrainian isn't actually that good. So he felt the need to jump between Russian, English, Ukrainian. And then here today, the first thing, the slur that he gives is in Russian.
Yep.
So
Native language.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to put this one up there right now. Martian, good comment. Doesn't understand why people thought starting a war with Russia was a bright idea. So it's what we have. And I really wanted to play this guy's video. If you guys want it, just go to his Twitter account. It's listed here. He had so many F explicitives in it, I couldn't put it on. But he says it right there. If Ukraine could win, then everybody needs to shut the F up about how dangerous Russia is to the rest of the world. You know, if he can't get it through his head that Ukraine can't defeat them, no matter how much money you get, you know, if they can win, what's Europe afraid of? Seems like
Seems like
I
a
don't know what we
reasonable deduction to me.
yeah.
Agreed.
And take this guy's X channel down. Go check out his video. You guys have to hear it. If you can put up with the every third word being an F word, he makes great points through the whole video. No one has anything to say but me.
No,
No,
actually,
Eddie's doing
I
better
mean-
than I am. He's scrolling through the chat.
I'm scrolling through the chat, kind of looking to see what's there.
I'm just
but-
reading as well. That's just
So here is a Ukrainian journalist, and she's been sanctioned by Zelenskyy because they have freedom of speech there according to their constitution. And she's calling them out on the fact that, she's been sanctioned against their constitution. And she has a video down here of them grabbing some guy off the street, throwing him in the back of a van to take him to the front. And, she's saying, look at what's going on in Ukraine. They're just stealing our sons. So this is the sentiment that's out there. There's a good amount of NATO out there. I think they're crying a little bit. They're trying to be out active in Twitter. They aren't doing too well now that the MAGA guys can respond to them. But, and there's, I can tell you that other than the politicians in Ukraine, I have heard no comments from anybody in Ukraine, average people that I talk to today that actually support what went on in the White House by Zelenskyy or support him in general. So it makes me believe, I talked to a lot of people in Ukraine today. It leads me to believe that the surveys that have come out saying about 76% of the people want to end the war, even if they have to concede territory, is true.
I've heard the same, that the sentiment from a lot of Ukrainians was total shock and embarrassment for what happened yesterday, because they truly do desire peace. They want it to stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, the irony of stating that Russia's a dictatorship. Because, I mean, when you see things like this, you see somebody getting dragged and tossed into a car.
You know, and
It's-
that's what J.D. Vance, in his tirade
Yeah.
toward
Yeah.
Zelenskyy, was, he brought that up, and that I'm so glad he did, because there are many Americans who do not watch alternative media, because that's the only place you can find it. You can find scenes like that anywhere on the internet. So it's not on mainstream media. So here you have the Vice President of the United States saying, "Hey, what are all these videos that we see of you, you know, of your conscripts, and you're just taking them off the street, you're just separating them." Talk about separating sons from families. I thought it was brilliant the way he did that. But anyway,
Yep.
there's something I want to upload just to show real quick, if I can. Well, shoot, I don't even know where I saved it. I'll do it later.
Okay. So
I'm an idiot.
So tomorrow we have a Ukraine Security Council meeting. 17 of the EU countries out of 27. You notice that Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are on the list. They were not on the list earlier today. They pissed and moaned and cried that they weren't invited. So there were originally only 14. So these are the guys that are meeting tomorrow to determine how to support Ukraine while they're fighting against Russia, and how to guarantee their security after signing a peace deal. And since these are the stated goals of this meeting, what do you guys hear in that statement? We want to figure out how to support them during the war and to give them security guarantees afterwards.
That means we cannot give them security guarantees now.
Exactly.
You mean
Explain this, David.
you don't expect boots on the ground?
No.
Not at all.
You mean they think Putin will do what he said he'll do, and he'll strike their military infrastructure in their own countries? Maybe.
Possibly. I mean, no, Eddie can go first.
All I got to say I'll say this to Macron, to Stormer, to MERS, maybe even the Chihuahua states, with their 6 soldiers. Put 1 soldier in Ukraine. I dare you. I triple dog dare you to put one of your troops in Ukraine. Do it. Because it's not what's going to happen from the Russian side. It's what's going to happen from your population, from your citizenry. I think they're afraid that there's going to be a revolt among their citizens, because this is extremely unpopular with the average citizen. It's only these elites in power that feed this war.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
agreed. I feel like the whole pro-Ukrainian theme was sort of like a dying trend. Well, was a trend that eventually became a dying trend, because it was all over social media. It was cool to support a certain nation, or it was cool to post this. Everybody did it. They didn't have a background. And then people actually felt and saw with their own eyes. And later they're like, oh, wait, I don't really think I like this idea. And I think with Trump coming into power, it has given a different perspective. Because a lot of the things that he says, the Russian media has been saying for years. He called Zelenskyy a dictator. the Russian media has been showing these things that he has been doing that a lot of the people in the West did not have. So I feel like people are slowly realizing, oh wait, there's another form of media? Really?
Oh.
Where can
So-
I find these videos that Vance was talking about? Oh, I
Exactly.
think we should bring this. I'm going to bring it up one more time. I think we need to say it over and over and over in case we have new viewers who are new to this podcast. If you have not seen the documentary called Ukraine on Fire, I'll repeat it again, Ukraine on Fire. You need to find it. You can find it on Rumble for sure. And you may be able to find it on YouTube, maybe other places like VK or RooTube. But it's a documentary by director Oliver Stone, and it will perfectly explain how Maidan occurred and what's really happening in Ukraine.
And if you want more on that, go to Andy's YouTube channel and find the interview he did with me.
Exactly, that's a fascinating one.
What
So-
you ought to do, Afro, is send the link to that video, and that way Kevin can add it to the
Sure. I will definitely do
to
that.
the description.
I'll be honest, I'm just trying to drive people to Andy's channel. It's on mine too. So if I wasn't lazy, I could grab it. So-
Okay. Oh, well, maybe we should take the time to do that right now. If you're not subscribed to Afro Lev, to American in Crimea or Moscow Photographer, do it now. Give us a thumbs up right now if you have not already. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you don't like what we're saying, smash that thumbs down button twice. Okay? Do it now.
Yep.
I like that. It's a balanced review.
So Michael's asking if NATO was just neutered.
My opinion, neutered, no. Nose slapped like a dog, yes.
Well, let's put up the statement from NATO. President of Ukraine should find a way to establish contacts with the U.S. administration. And he called on Zelenskyy to find a way to improve his relationships. So I would say they are missing at least one walnut at this point.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
That
So
is-
yeah, I may say they might be missing a walnut. Yeah, for sure.
That is so far from where the EU is standing on things right now, or a part of the E EU.
Or they got slapped in the cojones and they're feeling it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay. Serge is saying, tell the viewers to avoid the PBS and Netflix documentaries. So they're not the ones to watch. As Eddie said, you can find Ukraine on Fire on YouTube. And
I'm gonna try
Eddie,
to find it, guys, and I'm gonna put it down in the description after the live is over. I'll try to find it.
okay. I was going to have you talk about this one while I went and looked for the Andy video.
Go ahead, I
sent
can
it to
do
you.
that.
On Telegram.
So we have the
Oh, okay.
Russian embassy in the UK that tweeted out President Vladimir Putin. We realize that not everyone is happy to see Russia-US contacts resume. A portion of Western elites are still committed to maintaining instability in the world, and these forces will try to disrupt or compromise the newly resumed dialogue. Absolutely true. This is exactly what is happening, and I remember reading this this tweet as well. And so, yeah, thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, they're probably quivering in their boots because, well, if they did plan this, which I have no idea, because a lot of people are saying this is orchestrated, but obviously this doesn't look good. So they're scrambling, they're getting their bots, they're trying to change the narrative, and they're making sure that they get it posted everywhere. Immediately after that interview in the White House, well, not the interview, I don't know if we can call it that, more like a brawl, I would call it. The president of France sends out a tweet, or as Kevin said, I guess his staff sends out a tweet. Basically, damage control. Oh, we stand with Ukraine. Russia's the aggressor. All of this, right? So I feel like they're pretty much scrambling. They're trying to keep this intact, but I feel like people are slowly catching on, and it's seen in the way that media is slowly changing. I can give you an example. A few years ago, when people started doing the whole "this is the real Russia," making YouTube channels, it wasn't cool. Everybody was basically like, everything that you talk about that is Russian is absolutely evil. And now you're getting people coming into Russia, making videos, and it is actually cool to make these videos. I make a video and I see at least 70 that have the exact same title or the exact same theme. And another example is for people that listen to rap music. A Grammy-nominated rapper yesterday, DaBaby, performed at the VK Stadium. And that's big because a year ago, a lot of rappers were offered to perform in Russia, but turned it down because they did not want to be in a nation that is creating instability in the world. So people are slowly catching on. I feel like now they're scrambling because I would say, for the first time in a long time, maybe even for the first time, an American president is repeating bar for bar what RT has been saying and what they have been blocked for in the past few years. Because if you look at RT and you scroll through all the things that they have been saying for the past few years, which got them blocked on Telegram in the States and blocked on YouTube, Trump has repeated them. And I think that really frightens them because now Uncle Sam is saying the exact same thing that Russia is saying. And now they're also trying to paint this narrative of like, Trump is in Putin's pocket. It must be some conspiracy. Maybe he took a deal under the table. No, people have common sense. It's just that you were robbed of this because the media machine is relentless. It gives you information that you might not even know that you need. A simple example is I'm from a small place, Botswana, a village, right? And our TV screens are basically plastered with CNN news. And every single thing which we derive from there is that specific agenda. We don't want to know. I mean, as a kid, I couldn't care less. I just wanted to play with my toys. But I get it on the screen, Russia's the bad guy. You know, so I'm like, oh no. Our textbooks, every single thing, Russia's the bad guy. Really? Oh man, darn Russia. This is terrible. You know? And then, for once, the same people that are making the textbooks.
By USAID.
Yeah.
I was just saying, all provided and paid
by
USAID.
So we had the mind blown thing yesterday of Lindsey Graham getting on Zelenskyy and supporting Trump. I watched a CNN news clip today on YouTube, and it's a rare occasion I find them, but they had a good title, and I clicked on it, and believe it or not, they were offended by the way Zelenskyy acted. So again, it was like, poof. CNN of all places. Lindsey Graham and CNN. We need to put them together now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindsay plays all sides against the
whatever
middle.
side's convenient. I guess that's what people lean towards.
I'm going to address this right now. David, I've been starring your comments to get back to them later. Yes, we're all in Russia. In what parts? Isn't any of your business really? And why are there no viewers on this live stream? Because obviously you're in your own world, because I can see the number of viewers we have out there. I'm seeing 61 in the stream, and I'm seeing 8 over on YouTube, in fact. And we have Christopher over on YouTube and his lovely wife, Jill, over here in YouTube. And here is a comment from Loud Quite that is kind of an important thing. Zelenskyy got himself elected as president by claiming he was a Russian speaker. He was going, this sounded so Trump-like at the time. He was on day 1 or day 3 going to have peace with the people in Lugansk and Donetsk and give them autonomy, all the stuff that he's now against. So thank you from YouTube.
Wonderful.
Claudia, hello. So, I just had to upload this.
Quite accurate.
Got some creative people out here.
I wish I could draw like that.
Me too.
So,
Probably would make memes over it.
So Starmer, they're going to give him £3 billion, and they say it'll be approved and ready to go within 3 days. £3 billion is about 3.78 billion US dollars. It's a good chunk of money for the UK, but what's it going to do for Ukraine? Is it going to let them hold out for another month? Or are they going to use that money to buy weapons from one of the Western European countries that then has to buy them from the United States, which is now not wanting to sell them to them? What's this going to do other than line some politicians and generals' pockets over there?
That was my first thought. It's like, first of all, where are you going to get the weapons from if the U.S. says, no, we're not shipping anymore, and what that means is that you can't buy them? Are they going to buy them from the cartels? Buy them back from the cartels that they sold them to? Or are they just going to launder this money back into their pockets while they can?
Yeah. So here we go. Everybody wave goodbye to David. The obvious troll that's been hanging out here. Nafo, go home. We're sending you to the front.
Bye-bye. До свидания.
Yeah.
Пока.
We will get to your questions here eventually. So Europe, this is what they've been putting out there. Everybody stands behind them, and Zelenskyy has thanked every one of them today with the same message that he sent to Trump and Vance.
And the reason that is happening is because of this. This message, apparently this memo went out yesterday right after the speech. Everyone get more pro-Ukraine now, because you just saw the flood of bots and some real people coming in to talk about that.
Yep. So, and since we're fighting propaganda here, this guy breaking, and this is the idiocy of people who repeat what they see and hear without bothering to look into it. Ukrainian Minister of Parliament Alexander Dubinsky has called for an emergency session of Ukraine's parliament to initiate impeachment proceedings against Zelenskyy. I have some bad news for you. If you guys simply went out and did a quick look, he is a former Ukrainian Minister of Parliament who is currently under arrest and jailed for anti-Ukraine propaganda, for supposedly spying and providing information to Russian intelligence. And he's making this call for the parliament to impeach him from his jail cell as a former minister. He is not a minister of parliament, and he's in jail. He's jailed just like everybody else who disagrees with Zelensky's storyline. So don't fall for propaganda. Don't repeat stuff without checking to see if it's true or not.
Mm.
You guys got any final thoughts on the Zelenskyy-Trump debacle?
I do not, but I will be up. I will try not to. I try to fall asleep and go to sleep like normal people, but I can't help it. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to scroll to see what the latest information is. It's going to be interesting to see tomorrow what comes from this meeting in London. And I'll be live. Will you be live with me, Kevin? You going to make it tomorrow? 8 p.m.?
8 p.m., yep.
That's what we're going to talk about over on Sounding Off podcast tomorrow.
Yep. So we have three start.
Go ahead.
So Erica Ray wants to know, some are saying the whole reason Zelenskyy came was to sign the mineral deal, but then Zelenskyy wanted to change the deal for security guarantees. Thoughts?
I think he was, he was coming here to sign, but I think he was ordered to drill this point that he wants security guarantees. He wants security, all of this had already been agreed to, but now he's pushing this. And of course, the press started to question Trump about it as well. And I think that was, a setup.
And a lot of that press was foreign press.
Toss was in the house too.
Yeah. So Erica's other question is, how are the Ukrainian government and the people reacting? I've talked about the people a little bit. The government hasn't reacted at all. However, I can tell you that the Ukrainian delegation, which is the ambassador, some of the parliament members who ratified the mineral rights deal have been calling Washington, trying to get Trump to let Zelenskyy back in to actually sit down and sign the deal. So that is confirmed in Ukrainian news as well. A lot of the US news, a lot of the European news, and Trump is basically telling them, take some time to grow up. And last question is, what do you think about Zelenskyy's future?
I don't know. At this point, I don't even want to speculate.
Yeah, I don't even want to speculate, but I mean, it could go really south. I mean, the problem is when he becomes. Oh no, Eddie, get something.
Go ahead. I'll say it after you.
I'll only say this: when he is not useful anymore, I think it'll be easy to understand this page. That's what I'll say.
And I will say that this will be Zelenskyy's final performance as an actor. Period.
No, they did not sell the mineral rights to the UK. I'm not going to add anything to what the two of you said. I think he is on his last legs. So, you guys up for a little longer? You still want to talk about Russian wives, or we want to make everyone come back for another stream for that one?
Speaking from someone who has a Russian wife waiting for him, maybe another stream.
We could, yeah. Honestly.
Okay.
Maybe in another stream as well, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll schedule the 3 idiots. Maybe we can get the 4th idiot to join us since he's married to a Russian woman too.
Absolutely.
And we'll get that on the calendar. I don't know, maybe next Saturday.
Sounds good to
No,
me.
not next Saturday. Next
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah.
we do not
Wednesday.
do
Wednesday.
No. Next Saturday, no.
Mm-hmm.
So
Maybe the following
sorry,
one.
everybody. You are seeing the reaction of men that are married to Russian women. Next Saturday is March 8th. You better not show up at home without flowers, candy, diamonds, whatever, treats, a night out, something. Not married to a Russian woman. This is not what you want to forget. March 8th.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that said, we're going to send Serge off to go take video at this Yuki gathering, but we're going to send him with a Russian flag.
Oh,
Get some good video for us, Serge.
please, I would love to do that. I'd join you.
All right. So that said, everybody over on RooTube, thanks for being here with us over there as well. Good platform, guys. So go start a channel over there.
We'll do
Eddie
it.
and Andy. The
Yeah,
rest
I
of
got
you if you
that.
want to too.
I keep on being told to.
Eddie and I actually plan to do a stream on that one of these days, probably right after the deep state one that we've been planning for almost a year. But censorship on RooTube. So,
This deep state episode is actually being played out in real life, in real time. So
yeah. Saved us the research, huh?
exactly. They're coming up.
All right, guys. So, Eddie, Andy, we will
Thank you.
not let our enemies pass.
Is there?
Not at all.
And with that, audience, thanks for coming. And join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
С чего начинается Родина? С окошек горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается